A single, thunderous gunshot tears through the silence, marking the explosive end of a life fueled by vengeance. The bullet strikes true, drilling into the chest of Chairman Kaosu, the ruthless tyrant who decimated Nyan's entire family. Panic erupts instantly as bodyguards swarm the scene, screaming in horror at the sudden execution of their master. The retaliation is swift and brutal. Dozens of bullets shred through Nyan's body, the price he willingly pays for his revenge. Collapsing into a pool of his own blood, a twisted smile forms on his lips, knowing he finally dragged his nemesis down to hell with him. The once mighty financial god lies dead on the pavement, his nation-rivaling wealth unable to save him from a desperate man's wrath. As his vision fades, Nyan's thoughts drift to his parents, whispering a final apology for failing to save them in this miserable life. Darkness closes in, but his soul screams against the unfairness of it all, refusing to accept that his story ends in such tragedy. He feels himself plummeting into a cold, infinite abyss, vowing that if he had another chance, he would never resign himself to fate. Suddenly, the darkness shatters and his eyes snap open, the cold grip of death replaced by a violent jolt of light. Gasping for air, he finds himself lying in a sunlit room, his body intact, warm, and miraculously free of bullet holes. He clutches his chest in bewildered panic, his heart pounding against his ribs as he tries to process why he is still breathing. Freezing in place, he recognizes the shabby furniture of the small apartment he rented during his university days, years ago. On the television screen, a breaking news report announces the launch of Conviction, the VR that famously changed the world. The realization hits him like a physical blow. He hasn't just survived the shooting, he has traveled back in time. Staring into the mirror at his youthful, unscarred reflection, Nyan confirms the impossible. He is 18 again. Trembling, he picks up a framed photo on the desk, his heart skipping a beat as he realizes his parents are still alive in this timeline. Memories flood back of how his father honestly built their fortune through strategic metal trading, a happiness he took for granted. But that wealth attracted wolves, and he recalls the shadowy figures and betrayals that originally conspired to steal everything they had built. The pain of the past resurfaces, the bankruptcy, his father's suicide, and his mother dying of a broken heart, events that haven't happened yet. Clenching his fists before the mirror, he looks at his weak body, regretting how he wasted his first life wallowing in despair. But fate has granted him a do-over, and he swears to the heavens that this time, he won't lose a single person he loves. He knows that the game Conviction is where Kaosu's financial empire began its rise, and that is exactly where he will destroy him. Checking his phone, he sees the date is July 2025. The game has only been open for 7 days. 7 days is a significant gap, but with the memories of a level 180 Great Thief, catching up to the elite will be effortless. He grabs his bank card, calculating that he has just enough savings to buy an entry-level gaming helmet to start his journey. A fire burns in his eyes as he grabs his jacket, his hatred for Kaosu fueling a new, unstoppable determination. He strides out of the apartment with a lethal purpose, ready to rewrite history and crush his enemies before they even strike. That evening, under the pale light of a full moon, the quiet city sleeps while a legend is about to be born. Nyan holds the gaming helmet in his hands, staring at the device that will become his sword, his shield, and his path to absolute power. He lowers the visor over his eyes, his expression calm and focused as he prepares to dive into the digital battlefield. The system initializes, and his consciousness is sucked into the vast, immersive virtual realm of Conviction. A holographic map appears, offering a choice between 3 major factions: the righteous, the dark, or the neutral. He reviews the Viridian Empire, a human nation governed by a council, known for its order, laws, and stability. Next is the Satrine Alliance, a wild tribal coalition of dwarves, orcs, and elves living in the untamed lands. The dark faction looms ominously, home to demons and undead tribes ruled by ruthless, power-hungry dictators. Finally, the neutral faction offers a peaceful existence among the giants, but peace is not what he seeks this time. Without hesitation, he decides to walk the path of the Gale Thief again, intending to leverage his future knowledge to its absolute limit. He locks in his choice, the avatar shifting into the agile and deadly form of a rogue, a class he mastered in his past life. Selecting the Viridian Empire as his birthplace, the system prompts him to name his new identity. He inputs the name Nirvana Flame, a symbol of his rebirth and the destructive fire he intends to rain down on his foes. The system confirms his creation, and the legend of Nirvana Flame officially begins its ascent. In a flash of data and light, he materializes in Kalor City, the bustling heart of the Empire teeming with new players. He checks his base stats, relieved to feel the familiar potential of a level 1 character waiting to be molded. Correcting the mistakes of his past life, he immediately dumps his free attribute points into strength and agility for maximum burst damage. Wasting no time on sightseeing, he heads straight for the teleportation circle, ignoring the confused stares of other players. In the town square, players are shouting to sell beginner gear, but Yan ignores the trash items completely. He navigates the crowd with a smirk, remembering every scam, every glitch, and every hidden treasure this town holds. He spots a warrior selling a stealth skill book for 6 copper coins, a steep price that makes the newbies hesitate. While others complain about the cost, Yan approaches the seller, knowing the true value of that book is far higher than 6 copper. He acts casual, asking the seller for the price despite the sign, testing the waters before making his move. Internally, he is already planning his route to a hidden chest in the wild cat zone that requires this exact skill to access. Instead of paying, he makes a bold offer, the book for free in exchange for a secret farming method. The seller scoffs, thinking this level 0 nobody is trying to hustle him out of his hard-earned loot. Yan calmly reveals the exact source of the books, identifying them as drops from the fallen shamans in Link Town. He rattles off the precise coordinates of the spawn point, leaving the seller stunned and speechless at the accuracy. The warrior breaks into a cold sweat, realizing this stranger knows game secrets that shouldn't be public knowledge yet. Desperate to maximize his profits before the secret gets out, the seller practically throws the book at Yan, agreeing to the deal. The player, Flying Stone, thanks him profusely, unaware he just got played by a master manipulator from the future. Yan walks away with his prize, tossing a final tip over his shoulder to cement the man's trust for future use. With the skill book secured, he steps onto the transfer array and vanishes in a pillar of blue light. He arrives in Track Town, immediately equipping the stealth skill that will be the key to his rapid leveling strategy. Leaving the safety of the city walls, he heads straight toward the wilderness where high-level monsters roam. The skill book dissolves into particles of light, and the knowledge of stealth imprints itself deeply into his character's mind. He breaks into a run, his body fading into transparency as he activates his new ability. He moves like a phantom, dashing up the mountain path toward the dangerous wild cat zone. Weaving through the trees, he relies on his muscle memory to navigate the complex terrain without slowing down. Below him, the forest is crawling with monsters that would one-shot a level 0 player, but they don't even see him passing. The mutant wildcats, fierce level 4 and 5 monsters, patrol the area, sniffing for intruders with glowing eyes. There it is, high up in the branches of an ancient tree sits a silver treasure chest, glowing with promise. Yan calculates his timing, knowing that chests of this rank are unique and will disappear forever once looted. It's a silver chest, a rare find that usually requires a full team to access, but he is here to take it alone. He takes a deep breath, shrouding himself in shadows, aware that one mistake means instant death and a forced restart. He bursts forward, a blur of motion as he utilizes the brief window of his stealth duration. Gravity takes hold as he leaps from a high branch, aiming directly for the tree holding the prize. Suddenly, a wildcat's ear twitches. Its red eyes snap open, sensing a disturbance in the air. The beast pounces, claws slashing through the space Yan occupied a millisecond ago, missing him by a hair's breadth. He lands silently on the branch, ignoring the monsters below as he reaches for the lock with steady hands. A progress bar appears, and the seconds tick by agonizingly slowly as he picks the lock. Sweat forms on his brow. His stealth is about to expire, and the cats are gathering at the base of the tree. He is trapped high above a pack of hungry predators, but the lock finally clicks open. The lid creaks up, revealing a skill book radiating a powerful blue energy inside. Yan grabs the loot, a triumphant grin spreading across his face as he identifies the legendary item. It is Vital Strike, a devastating skill that deals massive bonus damage. The first piece of his god-tier build is secured. With a satisfied grin, Yan confirms the acquisition of Vital Strike, the high-damage skill that will be the cornerstone of his early-game dominance. The skill book dissolves into energy, merging with his avatar and officially adding the deadly technique to his arsenal. High above the forest floor, his stealth timer hits 0, revealing his location to the pack of furious mutant wildcats waiting below. He loses his footing and plummets from the branch, gravity pulling him straight into the jaws of the monsters. As the ground rushes up to meet him, he smiles sarcastically, treating his impending death as nothing more than a tactical convenience. The cats tear him apart in seconds, but since he is still level 0 with starter trash gear, death carries absolutely no penalty. Moments later, he respawns in the town square, having successfully used death as a free instant teleport back to safety. Dusting himself off, he immediately shifts gears to phase 2 of his speed leveling master plan. He sprints through the bustling streets of Kalor City, ignoring the other players as he focuses on his next objective. The next step requires 20 copper coins, but since new accounts only start with 10, he needs to make some quick cash first. He approaches Hunter Klaus, triggering the first part of a specific chain quest by accepting a task to collect skulls. Without pausing, he runs to Farmer N nearby, grabbing a second quest to exterminate rats, stacking his objectives efficiently. Finally, he enters the potion shop, knowing that holding the first two quests is the secret trigger to unlock a dialogue with the apothecary. The hidden mechanic works perfectly. Apothecary offers him a collection quest for potion ingredients, completing the trifecta. Na Yan heads to the fields where the silver-gray giant rats roam, analyzing the stats of his prey. He wastes no time, lunging at a rat and unleashing his new vital strike directly into its weak point. The damage is lethal. The rat squeals and collapses, dropping a skull and a tail needed for his quests. He moves like a whirlwind, slaughtering rat after rat, and luck shines on him as a golden glow erupts from one of the corpses. He picks up a pair of tough leather leggings, a rare drop for this level that will sell for a premium on the market. The rats swarm him, but he dances through their attacks, his movements precise and efficient as he farms the necessary items. Vital strike flashes repeatedly, turning the field into a graveyard as he completes all 3 quests in record time. 1 hour later, he returns to the village, his inventory full of quest items and loot. He turns in the quests to the 3 NPCs simultaneously, racking up a massive amount of copper and instant health potions. Efficient as always, he lists the rare leather leggings on the auction house, knowing some desperate warrior will pay top dollar for them. With his coin purse now heavy enough, he marches toward the weapon shop to prepare for the real challenge. The blacksmith welcomes him warmly, boasting about the quality of his wares, but Na Yan knows exactly what he wants. He demands a specific crossbow with high attack speed and a triple shot effect, outlining the exact stats to the confused merchant. The shopkeeper presents the rapid-fire hand crossbow, a masterpiece of early game engineering priced at 35 copper. Na Yan slams his money onto the counter, buying the weapon and 9,000 rough iron bolts, emptying his funds. Armed to the teeth, he leaves the shop with a confident stride, ready to exploit one of the game's most broken spots. He navigates through the city, heading toward the teleportation array that will take him to the dangerous bison zone. The bison are level 8 monsters, a suicide mission for a level 0 player due to the game's strict level suppression mechanics. But Na Yan isn't playing fair. He's armed with future knowledge that turns this impossible challenge into an XP farm. He arrives at the wild bison zone, scanning the rolling green hills filled with massive, grazing beasts. Consulting his memory, he climbs a steep rock formation, searching for the specific coordinates: 567, 528, 192. Reaching the peak, he looks down and spots his target, the massive, red-eyed bison chieftain patrolling the valley. The level 8 chieftain is a rare elite boss, a terrifying creature that could trample a full party of beginners in seconds. Na Yan positions himself on a narrow ledge, checking his angles to ensure the boss is exactly within his crossbow's 30-yard range. He pulls the trigger, and a bolt whistles through the air, traversing the long distance down to the valley floor. The bolt strikes the chieftain's hide, but the level gap is so huge that a miss and a measly -1 damage float up. It doesn't matter, he has thousands of bolts and infinite patience, ready to cheese this boss to death one hit at a time. The chieftain roars in fury, peppered with arrows, but it cannot figure out where the attack is coming from. It charges toward the cliff, its massive hooves thundering against the ground as it tries to reach its tormentor. But the beast gets stuck at the base of the rocks. Na Yan has utilized a historic glitch spot where the monster's pathfinding fails. He continues to rain fire from above, occasionally landing a vital hit on the eye for slightly more damage, slowly chipping away the health bar. Hours pass in a rhythmic blur of reloading and firing, his bolt count dropping from 9,000 to 6,000, then 5,000. Finally, the chieftain's roar turns into a death rattle as its health bar completely vanishes. Na Yan wipes the sweat from his brow, exhausted by the 3-hour endurance test but victorious. The massive beast collapses, its body sliding down the rocks with a heavy thud, defeated by a level 0 thief. Dust settles around the corpse as the game processes the kill. Na Yan slides down the cliff face, eager to claim the rewards of his patience. A golden pillar of light engulfs him as the massive XP bonus from killing a boss 8 levels higher shoots him straight to level 2. He crouches by the corpse, his eyes widening as he sees the loot glowing with a distinct high-tier aura. He pulls out a dagger with a curved blade, shocked to see the bronze sheen indicating a high-rarity drop. In conviction, gear tiers matter immensely, and a bronze weapon this early in the game is like bringing a gun to a knife fight. He admires the blade, estimating its value at 3 silver coins, a fortune that could set him up for weeks. Suddenly, an incoming call notification pops up from Flying Stone, the paladin he scammed earlier. Flying Stone appears on the screen, grinning from ear to ear, ecstatic that the farming coordinates Na Yan sold him actually worked. Na Yan plays it cool, reminding the paladin to mail him the Owl's Insight skill book if it drops from the shamans. When asked how a level 0 player knew such high-level secrets, Yan lies smoothly, claiming he deleted a high-level account to reroll. Flying Stone buys the lie, then mentions his team keeps getting wiped at the Fallen Shaman Camp dungeon. Sensing another business opportunity, Yan instantly offers to sell him a full clear guide for 2 silver coins. Flying Stone's eyes turn into dollar signs. He agrees immediately, rushing off to convince his team captain to pay the fee. Deal concluded, Yan uses his return scroll, vanishing from the wilderness to identify his new treasure. He materializes in Track Town, ignoring the dreary architecture and heading straight for the appraisal shop. Inside, he places the unidentified dagger on the counter, facing the beautiful elf appraiser NPC. She quotes him a fee of 10 copper coins, a standard price that most players would pay without thinking. But Yan's mind races, calculating the game's formula. The fee is 5% of the item's value, which means this dagger is worth a fortune. He pays the fee without hesitation, his anticipation building as the magic begins to work. The elf waves her hand, and the dagger floats in the air, shedding its sealed outer layer to reveal its true form. Yan checks the stats and gasps. The horn dagger rolled a massive strength +5 bonus, making him practically invincible in the starter zone. With his offense secured, Yan reviews his build, realizing he still lacks a sustainable way to heal during long battles. While most thieves rely on expensive potions to keep their health up, he knows that Bandage Mastery is the superior, cost-effective choice for a pro. He arrives at the apothecary in the starter village, a quaint building that holds the key to his survival strategy. Inside, he purchases the Bandage Mastery skill book and stacks up on minor underwater breathing potions, preparing for a specific route. His destination is Lake Rando, a picturesque zone teeming with players, resources, and hidden dangers. He moves through the wilderness in stealth, carefully avoiding the chaotic, kill-stealing disputes that plague the low-level zones. The path to the lake runs directly through the Fishman village, a bottleneck currently occupied by a large group of players. Yan pauses, his eyes narrowing as he reads the system notification. The Victorious Return Guild has locked down the area. A dark look crosses his face as he recognizes the guild logo, a group of bullies who made his past life a living hell. Memories of being hunted and humiliated solely for being a solo player flood back, fueling a cold desire for payback. He decides to push through, but his stealth is broken by a patrol, and a massive fishman lunges at him with a trident. He dodges the strike and sprints toward the lake, but a ball of fire roars toward him from the guild's backline. The fireball slams into his back, scorching his armor and shaving off a chunk of his health with a burning 23 damage. A high-level elementalist named Purple Blaze steps forward, his staff glowing with arrogance as he warns the casual to get lost. Yan skids to a halt, calculating his options. Retreat is safe, but closing the distance means a fight to the death. A smirk touches his lips. Running away isn't in his vocabulary this time around. He bursts forward with explosive speed, dodging a second spell as he closes the gap on the squishy mage. Purple Blaze panics, realizing his opponent isn't fleeing, and begins casting his defensive spell. Ring of Fire, the mage screams, unleashing a wave of flames to knock back the intruder. Yan doesn't flinch, crossing his arms to tank the damage directly rather than losing his momentum. Amidst the flames, he chugs an instant recovery potion, his health bar snapping back to full in a split second, plus 89 HP. He emerges from the fire and lands a heavy kick to the mage's chest, interrupting the next cast. Purple Blaze stumbles back, furious and terrified, screaming for the thief to die as he prepares another spell. Another fireball explodes, engulfing Yan, and the mage grins, certain that a low-level thief can't survive 2 direct hits. Go to hell, Purple Blaze shouts, channeling one final spell to incinerate the corpse and teach him a lesson. But as the smoke clears, a shadow lunges from the crater, unkillable and relentless. Yan's dagger flashes with the crimson light of Vital Strike, slashing across the mage's throat. Purple Blaze's eyes bulge in disbelief, unable to comprehend how a trash thief tanked his burst damage. Yan looms over him, a terrifying predator who knows exactly how to manage his HP pool. The mage dissolves into white light, leaving behind a curse and a promise of revenge. Yan casually snatches the bronze staff dropped by the dead mage, calculating its easy sale value of 10 copper. Crap, Purple Blaze is down. A guild sentry screams, alerting the entire raiding party to the enemy in their midst. Dozens of guild members turn their weapons toward him, charging down the slope like a tidal wave of steel. A warrior leaps into the air, his greatsword glowing with energy as he aims a flame slash at Yan's head. The blade crashes down, tearing the earth apart but striking nothing but empty air. The warrior looks up in shock, realizing his target moved faster than humanly possible. Yan sprints to the cliff's edge and dives, a perfect form carrying him toward the shimmering lake below. "Charge!" another warrior shouts, reckless with rage, attempting to follow him off the ledge. Chaos erupts on the cliffside as guild members collide, their attacks missing the elusive thief. Na Yan plummets through the air, his body slicing through the wind as gravity takes hold. With a massive splash, he disappears beneath the surface of Lake Rando, escaping the encirclement. On the shore, the guild members stare at the ripples, frustrated that they lack the potions to pursue him underwater. The female tank curses, demanding to know where the rat went, but the lake keeps its secrets. The guild leader arrives, his face a mask of cold fury, demanding the thief's ID for a kill-on-site order. Deep underwater, Na Yan drifts into the darkness, hearing the system notify him of the bounty on his head. He ignores the threat, his mind focused on a specific memory of a hidden treasure chest located in these depths. Scanning the lakebed, his eyes lock onto a glimmer of silver hidden among the aquatic plants. He swims over and pries open the chest, revealing the fishman's water-repelling pearl, a simple item that is currently a lifesaver. Suddenly, a trident thrusts from the shadows, barely missing his face as the water churns violently. Na Yan twists his body, realizing too late that he has swum directly into a high-level fishman den. Fighting underwater applies severe debuffs to agility and attack speed. Engaging them here is suicide. A swarm of fishmen emerges from the gloom, their glowing eyes locking onto the intruder. On the surface, the victorious Return Guild is still searching the shore, unaware of the storm beneath them. Suddenly, a massive wave erupts from the lake as Na Yan breaches the surface, trailing a literal army of enraged monsters. "Nice work, guys," he shouts sarcastically, dragging the aggro train directly into the confused guild members before diving back down. While the guild screams in panic, fighting off the horde, Na Yan swims unopposed to the safe zone, Central Lake Island. He hauls himself onto the rocky shore, gasping for air, safe from both the players and the monsters. Looking up, he is surprised to see someone else on this secluded island, a girl fighting giant spiders at the water's edge. He freezes, recognizing the pink hair and the holy robes. It's Yahello, the holy mage from his past life's party. Memories of their shared battles and campfires flood his mind. She was one of the few who stood by him until the end. Seeing a massive spider lunging at her blind spot, he instinctively dashes forward to intervene. His dagger glows as he intercepts the monster, vital strike digging deep into its carapace. Yahello reacts instantly, raising her staff to cast Holy Judgment on the stunned creature. The beam of light crashes down just as Na Yan finishes his combo, crushing the spider between their attacks. As the dust settles, they stand amidst the monster corpses, two strangers moving with the rhythm of veteran partners. He sheathes his dagger and offers a hand, introducing himself simply as Nirvana Flame. Yahello stares at him, her eyes wide, sensing something strangely familiar in his voice and movement. The name resonates with the future legend, but for now they are just two players on a beach. She smiles warmly, introducing herself and sending a friend request, grateful for the assist. Na Yan accepts immediately, a rare genuine smile crossing his face as he reconnects with an old friend. They chat casually, discovering they are both here to farm materials from the local wildlife. Yahello generously offers him a stack of fine silk, an item she looted but doesn't need for her class. Na Yan quickly calculates the market value, realizing she's handing him a decent chunk of change for free. He accepts the gift, knowing that in the grand scheme of things, he will repay her 1,000 times over. Suddenly, the water churns, and a colossal shadow rises from the lake, the level 5 chieftain, Water Spider Lord. Without a word, he sends a party invite and she accepts. The duo is formed. Na Yan engages first, using his speed to draw the boss's attention and land a quick slash for 52 damage. Yahello steps back, her staff glowing as she prepares her heavy-hitting holy spells. The spider screeches as holy light burns its shell, dealing massive damage and drawing its aggro. The boss turns to crush the mage, its massive legs slamming down like spears. "Jump!" Na Yan shouts, intercepting the boss to pull aggro back, commanding the flow of battle. He dances under the spider's fangs, his dagger chipping away at its health while dodging fatal blows. "Holy strike!" Yahello cries out, timing her spell perfectly with Na Yan's positioning. The spell impacts the spider's weak point, shattering its defense and dropping its health to 0. The giant beast collapses into the sand, dissolving into particles of light and loot. Yahello looks at Na Yan in awe, wondering why fighting with a stranger feels so perfectly synchronized. Na Yan wipes his blade, acting nonchalant, though he knows exactly why their teamwork is flawless. Curious, she asks why a player of his caliber is running solo instead of leading a top guild. Before he can answer, she extends an invitation to her group's raid in the Treant Forest, opening the door to his next adventure. Na Yan interrogates Yahello about her group's frontline, specifically asking for the shield warrior's HP and defense stats. She reveals they have 2 protectors with 53 defense and 230 health points each. A grim expression crosses his face, as he warns her that the Treant King boss has a critical hit chance that will shred such weak defenses. Shock washes over Yahello, who wonders how a total stranger could possibly possess such specific high-level game data. Despite the danger, she admits their team has invested too much time to quit now, even though they lack the necessary bronze gear. Offering a radical solution, Yan stares into her eyes and demands total command of her team for the next raid. Unsure if the others will follow a level 2 thief, Yahello promises to do her absolute best to convince them. Returning his attention to the present, he gestures toward the shimmering ripples of the defeated spider boss's loot. Using his appraisal skill, a pair of bronze fine silk gauntlets manifest in his hands, pulsing with magical energy. He casually tosses the rare gear to her, noting that it perfectly matches her mage class requirements. For himself, he retrieves a bundle of fine silk and a skill book containing the lethal assassinate technique. Gratitude fills her voice as she clutches the new gear, surprised by his generosity in a world of greedy players. A global notification suddenly flickers into existence, warning all users that the servers will go dark for maintenance in 3 minutes. Waving a friendly goodbye, Yahello promises to find him again as her avatar begins to pixelate and fade. Nirvana Flame gives a final nod before initiating his own logout, ending his first day back in this digital light. Waking up in the physical world, the morning light reveals he has been gaming for hours in his cramped apartment. He slides into his shoes, realizing that his virtual power won't save him in reality if his physical body remains weak. Determined to avoid being cornered by Cao Su's future thugs, he prepares to sharpen his physical reflexes through intense training. Moments later, he is out on the city streets, pushing his limits as he jogs through the early morning fog. Distraction nearly costs him his life as a massive truck screeches to a halt, the metal grille inches from his legs. Tumbling to the pavement, he gasps for air, his heart racing as he narrowly avoids a second permanent death. A gentle, familiar voice calls out his name, belonging to a girl with striking pink hair who rushes toward him. He looks up in shock to see Yahello, the woman who would become his deepest regret in his original life. While she rushes to her car for a medical kit, Yan is struck by the memory of his past cowardice and how it led to her ruin. He watches her, remembering how Cao Su targeted her simply for being close to him, eventually driving her into madness. She kneels beside him, scolding him for his recklessness, as she carefully wraps a bandage around his bleeding arm. Looking into her eyes, he sees a kindness he didn't deserve then, but one he is now prepared to protect at any cost. "Don't I have you to look after me?" he asks with a newfound confidence that leaves her visibly flustered. Trying to hide her blush, she huffs and says goodbye, acting annoyed as she retreats back to her vehicle. Sitting behind the wheel, Yahello can't shake the feeling that the weak boy she knew has transformed into someone dangerously resolute. Yan watches her drive away, his eyes cold and focused, vowing to uproot Cao Su's influence before it can poison her life again. His phone vibrates violently, displaying a call from Tang Yao, his loud-mouthed and loyal best friend. Hearing that energetic voice, he smiles, remembering how Tang Yao risked everything to support him during his darkest years. Beneath the smile lies a dark memory. In the previous timeline, his friend was beaten to death in a senseless bar fight. They meet up in the city center, and Tang Yao greets him with a boisterous shoulder grab, oblivious to the gravity of Yan's gaze. The conversation shifts to conviction, and Tang Yao is impressed that his friend has already grinded his way to level 2. Excited to show off, Tang Yao reveals he is a level 3 mage and drags him toward a local entertainment hub, the PK Bar. They enter the Neonlit Club, a place where players can challenge each other in virtual combat without affecting their main game progress. Despite his history of losing money, Tang Yao's gambling habit is in full swing as he looks for a match. A smug teenager named Wei Kai interrupts them, mockingly asking if young Master Tang is back to donate more cash. Wei Kai turns his venomous sneer toward Yan, taunting him about a past humiliation they clearly shared. Stepping in as a shield, Tang Yao tells his friend not to worry, promising to handle these bullies himself. Wei Kai pauses, unsettled by the fact that the usually timid Yan is staring back with eyes as cold as a predator's. Ready to settle things with coins, Tang Yao challenges him to a duel with a wager of 200 per round. The match begins on the big screens, a battle between a level 3 arcane mage and a ruthless berserker. Watching the selection, Yan knows his friend is walking into a trap, as berserkers have every advantage over mages in close quarters. The arena is revealed to be an open plain, leaving Tang Yao with zero cover to kite the charging warrior. As the match starts, another bully named Shifeng approaches Yan, looking for an easy win and some quick money. Yan agrees to the duel, but warns the boy that he isn't interested unless the wager makes it worth his time. Enraged by the stinking brat's arrogance, Shifeng slams 700 copper on the table, demanding a single match. The UI flashes to life, pitting a level 2 wind thief against a level 2 ranger in a high-stakes duel. They materialize in a dense bamboo forest, a map that offers endless opportunities for an experienced assassin to vanish. Both players activate their stealth skills simultaneously, disappearing into the swaying stalks and morning mist. Shifeng moves with practiced ease, certain that his skills as a ranger will allow him to sniff out the thief in seconds. Minutes pass in silence, and the ranger grows frustrated, unable to find even a footprint of his opponent in the undergrowth. High above the forest floor, Yan balances on a bamboo stalk, his 10 years of survival making concealment as natural as breathing. Like a falling shadow, he drops from his perch, appearing directly behind the unsuspecting ranger. His dagger finds its mark with surgical precision, a single strike dealing 40 damage and shattering Shifeng's confidence. The ranger spins around in a panic, swinging his blade at a shadow that has already slipped through his guard. "It's over," Yan whispers, his eyes glowing with the cold intensity of a man who has killed 1,000 times before. He delivers a brutal finishing blow that deals 70 damage, sending Shifeng back to the lobby in a shattered mess of pixels. Shifeng's avatar shatters into a cloud of glowing pixels, signaling a humiliating defeat for the arrogant ranger. The crowd in the PK bar erupts in disbelief, their eyes glued to the massive screen displaying the sudden KO. A faint, knowing smile plays on Yan's lips, though he internally notes that taking down a low-level beginner like Shifeng was almost too easy. Clutching his gaming helmet with trembling hands, Shifeng stares into the distance, haunted by the fact that he was taken out with a single surgical strike. As Yan walks away from the booth, the spectators whisper in hushed tones, wondering how the timid boy they once bullied became so cold and decisive. Memories of a darker timeline flicker through the air, recalling how Wei Kai used to physically assault and humiliate Yan without consequence. Tang Yao approaches his friend with a slumped posture, admitting he just lost 2 rounds and 1,200 copper to the bullies. He explains that Wei Kai's berserker character has mastered the anti-magic aura, a skill that perfectly counters his own arcane mage spells. Yan calmly counters his friend's despair, explaining that the aura is only effective if the mage lacks the proper timing and distance. Staring at his best friend in shock, Tang Yao wonders where on earth Yan learned such advanced combat theory. Without saying a word, Yan pulls out a thick stack of cash, his winnings from the first duel, and hands it over to settle Tang Yao's debt. The sight of the money enrages the bullies, who surround the pair, demanding to know where a nobody like him got such arrogance. One of Wei Kai's lackeys loses his temper and lunges forward, throwing a wild punch at Yan's face. With lightning reflexes honed by years of survival, Yan sidesteps and slams the attacker into the floor with brutal efficiency. He stares down at the fallen boy with predatory eyes, revealing that he spent his previous life training specifically to handle thugs like these. Tang Yao watches from the side, his jaw dropping as he realizes his lifelong brother has become a force to be reckoned with. The remaining bullies hesitate, their bravado evaporating as they warn each other that this version of Yan is far too dangerous to provoke. Wei Kai steps forward, his expression darkening as he realizes that the boy he used to break is now a wall he cannot easily climb. Blocking the exit with his arm, the leader of the group demands satisfaction, refusing to let Yan leave after beating his subordinate. Yan crosses his arms, looking completely bored by the posturing, and dismisses the previous match as a weak warm-up. Seeing an opportunity to reclaim his pride, Wei Kai challenges young Master Nai to a high-stakes round in the virtual arena. Tang Yao tries to intervene, pointing out the unfairness of a level 3 berserker challenging a level 2 thief, but Yan is already thinking ahead. Holding up 3 fingers, Yan raises the stakes to an insane 3,000 copper per round, silencing the entire room. Wei Kai grins maliciously and accepts the bet, convinced that no level 2 thief can possibly turn the sky upside down against him. Panic sets in for Tang Yao, who grabs Yan's shoulders and asks if he's lost his mind betting money they don't even have yet. With a calm smirk, Yan asks his friend to lend him the difference, promising to risk everything on this single gamble. The system finalizes the duel parameters: Nirvana Flame, the level 2 thief, versus Wei Kai, the level 3 berserker. They spawn into the map, standing at opposite ends of a vast, open emerald field. Tang Yao's heart sinks as he looks at the terrain, knowing that a flat grassland offers 0 cover for a thief to hide. Arrogant as ever, Wei Kai offers to change the map if Yan feels the terrain is too unfair, but the offer is met with a cold rejection. Yan activates his stealth skill, his body becoming a translucent shadow as he prepares to hunt in the open. He vanishes from sight, leaving Wei Kai standing alone in the center of the swaying grass. The berserker scans the horizon, his grip tightening on his greatsword as the silence of the arena begins to grate on his nerves. On the digital display, Yan is shown moving with phantom-like grace, carefully avoiding the grass clumps that would ripple and reveal his path. He waits patiently for an external force to mask his presence, sensing the virtual atmosphere shift. Suddenly, a powerful gust of wind howls across the plains, flattening the grass and creating the perfect visual distraction. Wei Kai realizes the danger too late, spinning his massive blade in a desperate circle to ward off the invisible predator. Sweat pours down the bully's face as he realizes he is facing a master who uses the environment itself as a weapon of war. Na Yan creeps into the berserker's blind spot, his dagger drawn and ready, waiting for the precise second the wind dies down to strike. Thinking he has spotted a movement in front of him, Wei Kai shifts his stance, leaving his entire back exposed. A second gust of wind picks up, and in that moment of chaos, Na Yan launches his assault. He leaps from the shadows, his blade glowing with lethal intent as he carves a deep wound into Wei Kai's shoulder for 35 damage. The berserker screams in frustration, unable to comprehend how the brat managed to get behind him so effortlessly. In a fit of rage, Wei Kai triggers Whirlwind Slash, turning into a lethal cyclone of steel to catch the thief in the transition. Na Yan takes a minor hit of 9 damage, but he remains calm, carefully observing the enemy's backswing animation delay. He knows that every massive attack in Conviction carries a moment of vulnerability that most players overlook. As the greatsword slams into the dirt at the end of the skill, Wei Kai is frozen for a crucial 1-second recovery window. That second is all Na Yan needs. He lunges forward, his silhouette blurring as he activates Vital Strike. The crowd watches in stunned silence, realizing that the timing of his skill release is nothing short of legendary. The dagger bites deep, a massive red -96, erupting from the berserker's chest as he is sent reeling backward. Wei Kai's health bar drops into the critical zone, leaving him with only 34 HP and a shattered sense of security. Desperate and bleeding, the bully ignites his blade with Flame Slash, screaming a final curse as he charges for one last suicidal strike. Screaming in pure panic, Tang Yao warns his friend to dodge as a lethal attack hurtles toward him. Instead of retreating, Na Yan stares down the incoming flames, calculating that his thief's advantage lies in close-quarters combat. The blazing greatsword crashes down, but he skillfully tanks the hit with his dagger, sacrificing 56 health points to hold his ground. Outraged by this display of defiance, Wei Kai screams at the arrogant brat for daring to block a high-level skill. Channeling his fury into his weapon, the berserker unleashes his devastating one-strike slash, determined to end the duel. He spins through the air like a deadly cyclone, the red aura of his blade tearing through the virtual grass. Watching from the sidelines, Tang Yao bites his lip in terror, knowing that getting caught in the stun effect spells instant death. Effortlessly bending his body backward, Na Yan lets the lethal slash pass mere inches above his chest. Tightening his grip on the golden hilt of his blade, he recognizes that his dagger's swift strike is the key to exploiting the berserker's missed charge. Closing the distance in a blur of motion, he slips past the warrior's guard before the massive sword can swing back. A brutal strike connects, sending Wei Kai tumbling backward through the air in a spray of digital blood. Hitting the ground with a heavy thud, the bully stares at his empty health bar in absolute disbelief. Landing gracefully nearby, Na Yan acknowledges he took a hit, but his lightning-fast retaliation secured the victory. A glowing blue system prompt confirms his triumph, reflecting in the cold, unwavering eyes of a true veteran. The crowd erupts into complete chaos, the lackeys clutching their heads as they fail to comprehend how a level 2 thief defeated their boss. Removing his VR headset, Wei Kai looks at his shaking hands, struggling to process his humiliating loss. Tang Yao rushes over, enthusiastically praising the unbelievable upset, while Na Yan humbly waves it off as a simple fluke. Wrapping an arm around his friend's shoulder, Tang Yao eagerly asks for coaching, a request Na Yan happily accepts. The celebration is interrupted as Wei Kai and his gang approach the platform, prompting Tang Yao to defensively step forward. Surprisingly, the arrogant leader bows his head, gracefully accepting his defeat and offering an invitation to his personal bar. Turning on his heel, Wei Kai orders his crew to leave, completely abandoning his usual tyrannical behavior. When a confused underling asks why he is sparing the brat, Wei Kai wisely points out that Na Yan's terrifying potential makes him a very dangerous future enemy. Smiling warmly at his best friend, Na Yan promises to treat him to a victory meal before logging back into the game. Night falls over the quiet city, casting a pale glow across the windows of Na Yan's modest apartment. Inside, he pushes himself through a grueling workout, sweating profusely as he builds his physical strength to match his mental sharpness. Catching his breath, he admires the vigor of his young muscles, grateful for this second chance at life before grabbing his helmet. The metallic visor slides down, and streams of blue data instantly transport his consciousness into the digital realm. Materializing on a lush, sunlit riverbank, he takes a deep breath of virtual air, ready to resume his grind. A flurry of notifications greets him, including a friend request from Tang Yao and a message from Flying Stone containing a hefty silver coin payment. Accepting the request, he decides to bring his friend along to the Treant Forest, smartly choosing to hold off on selling more guides to avoid suspicion. Glancing down the shoreline, he spots a solitary figure fishing by the water, the exact NPC needed for his next move. Approaching Physician Blevins, he triggers the hidden quest and proudly presents the 30 fine silks he collected earlier. The old man's face lights up with gratitude, handing over 30 regular silks in return while offering to teach the young adventurer a special skill. A swirl of green magic envelops Nyan as he successfully learns intermediate combat bandaging, a crucial survival tool. Checking his system panel, a frown replaces his smile when he realizes the quest progress is stuck at 20%. Blevins quickly clarifies that he requires even more silk, confirming Nyan's suspicion that this is a highly rewarding chain quest. Just then, a holographic call from Yahello pops up, urging him to hurry to their gathering point, to which he smoothly agrees. Standing amidst the bustling crowd at the Track Town teleportation point, Tang Yao looks around anxiously for his elusive friend. Nyan steps up from behind with a confident grin, taking the lead as they head out to conquer the treacherous Treant King. They soon arrive at the town gates, finding a fully geared, imposing raid party waiting for them on the cobblestones. Yahello happily waves them over, introducing her imposing, blonde-haired guild leader Yulan. Tang Yao leans in, immediately distracted by the beauty of the two high-level female players. Pulling Nyan aside, Yahello anxiously whispers that she vouched heavily for him and begs him not to embarrass her. From the back of the group, a rival wind thief named Chenbo glares with utter disdain, clearly irritated by the newcomer's presence. Yulan steps forward, her sharp eyes analyzing Nyan's calm demeanor, begrudgingly admitting he carries the aura of a true expert. Staring directly at the paladin, Nyan boldly guarantees a flawless victory on one non-negotiable condition: he must be the team captain. A heavy, stunned silence falls over the elite party members as they process the sheer audacity of this demand. Incensed by the disrespect, Chenbo violently objects, screaming that handing leadership to an unknown brat will surely get them all killed. Furious at the sudden change in command, Chenbo aggressively demands to know why Yulan is speaking up for an outsider. The paladin ignores the rogue's outburst, respectfully turning to Nyan to apologize on her guildmate's behalf before handing over the leadership role. Materializing a holographic team menu, Nyan establishes his absolute authority, warning them that anyone who disobeys his commands is free to leave. To solidify his position, Yulan crosses her arms and officially declares that from this moment on, Captain Nirvana Flame's orders are absolute. Swallowing his pride with a bitter grimace, Chenbo begrudgingly accepts the system prompt and joins the newly formed squad. Nyan softens his tone, assuring the group that they share the same goal and promising to personally compensate them with 10 silver coins if his commands cause a team wipe. This jaw-dropping sum sends a shockwave through the party, leaving the veteran tanks stunned by the sheer confidence of this low-level thief. A proud smile brightens Yao's face as she turns to Yulan, whispering an "I told you so" regarding her friend's undeniable aura of leadership. Wasting no time, the new captain claps his hands to command their attention, ordering everyone to immediately report their names and core stats. The main tank steps forward confidently, introducing himself as Boiled Water and proudly stating his massive defense and health pool. Following his lead, the rest of the frontline and backline call out their respective magical damage and defensive attributes in rapid succession. Analyzing the data in a split second, Nyan begins assigning specific consumable purchases, ordering Boiled Water to fetch haste potions and a mage to grab strength buffs. Hesitating nervously, the mage named Pumpkin points out that such specific potions cost dozens of copper coins and might completely ruin their profit margin. Chenbo seizes the opportunity to undermine the captain, scoffing from the shadows and claiming that throwing money at potions won't carry them through the forest. Overhearing the insult, Tang Yao flashes a mocking grin, generously offering to lend the rogue some cash if he's too broke to afford basic raid supplies. The taunt strikes a nerve, causing Chenbo to step forward furiously, ready to fight the smug arcane mage over being called a poor bastard. Ignoring the bickering, Yao softly asks if normal difficulty truly requires this much preparation, prompting Nyan to reveal his terrifying true plan. He casually announces that they aren't here for normal difficulty, leaving the main tank to nervously order everyone to buy exactly what the captain requested. With their inventories fully stocked and tensions high, Nyan confidently leads the fully formed raid party toward the outskirts of town. They eventually arrive at a mist-covered clearing deep within the woods, where an ancient, glowing monolith stands as the gateway to their trial. Halting the group with a raised hand, the captain steps forward alone, telling his team to wait while he personally triggers the dungeon entrance. He places his palm against the cold, carved stone, muttering an old lore phrase about the Dark Elves to initiate the awakening sequence. A translucent blue system menu materializes before his eyes, asking him to select from the 5 scaling dungeon difficulties. Without a single drop of hesitation, his finger decisively taps the ominous, blood-red banner marked Expert. Instantly, a massive pillar of light engulfs the entire party, pulling their digital avatars into the instant's dimensional space. They materialize amidst dense, overgrown foliage, greeted by a chilling system notification confirming their entry into the expert-grade Treant Forest. Pure panic erupts across the backline as the mages realize the suicidal difficulty setting, accusing their captain of making a fatal misclick. Yulan narrows her eyes in deep thought, realizing that a man who confidently wagered 10 silver coins wouldn't make such a simple rookie mistake. Connecting the dots in the worst possible way, Chen Bo aggressively confronts Na Yan, accusing the thief of intentionally leading them to their deaths to make them drop experience. Na Yan slowly turns his head, his eyes freezing over as he bluntly offers the furious rogue the option to leave the team right now. Before the argument can escalate, Yao Yao steps between them, her voice sharp as she warns Chen Bo to stop constantly targeting her invited friend. Caught off guard by her fierce defense, the rogue stammers and steps back, desperately trying to salvage his relationship with the beautiful healer. Turning his face away to hide his boiling resentment, Chen Bo internally curses Nirvana Flame, his jealousy reaching a dangerous tipping point. Bringing the focus back to the mission, Na Yan casually explains that expert difficulty merely increases boss HP and requires slightly tighter defensive thresholds from the tanks. Yulan sweats nervously at his nonchalant explanation, knowing full well that even a 1% deviation in a dungeon raid usually leads to a total wipeout. Despite the overwhelming odds, Yao Yao looks up at her friend for reassurance, and his warm, relaxed smile immediately puts her at ease. Sulking in the rear of the formation, Chen Bo glares at the captain's back, silently praying for the so-called expert to fail miserably and die. The party cautiously ventures deeper into the gloom, the towering, ancient trees creating an oppressive canopy that blocks out the virtual sun. Suddenly, Na Yan halts and barks an urgent warning, commanding everyone to instantly spread out as they have breached the enemy's attack range. The earth violently ruptures beneath their feet as massive, razor-sharp roots burst from the soil, seeking to impale the intruders. Too slow to react to the captain's warning, Chen Bo is violently ensnared by a thick, writhing vine that tightly coils around his torso. The massive root lifts him high into the air, treating the arrogant thief like a helpless ragdoll as he flails in panic. From the shadows of the canopy, the colossal, red-eyed Treant monster reveals its horrifying face, preparing to crush its trapped prey. Dangling upside down, the color drains from Chen Bo's face as the suffocating grip of the monster threatens to snap his spine. Completely abandoning his previous pride, the terrified rogue screams desperately, begging Captain Nirvana Flame to save his life. Suspended high in the air, the arrogant rogue Chen Bo flails helplessly as the monstrous Treant's roots crush the breath from his lungs. Without missing a beat, Na Yan barks out precise commands, ordering the tanks to attack the right flank while the paladins form a human barricade. Following the captain's orders without hesitation, Boiled Water charges forward, raising his massive red shield to intercept the writhing vines. The heavy shield violently collides with the thick root, generating a shower of sparks and momentarily staggering the massive beast. Capitalizing on the opening, the backline mages unleash a devastating barrage of elemental spells that light up the gloomy forest. A massive explosion of frost and fire tears the root to shreds, reducing the appendage's health to 0 in a single coordinated volley. The severed vine goes limp, dropping a battered and humiliated Chen Bo hard onto the dirt floor below. Scrambling to his feet, the embarrassed rogue furiously points a finger at Na Yan, accusing the captain of spotting the monster in advance and deliberately withholding a warning. Leaning casually against a tree, Na Yan stares down at him with cold condescension, pointing out that everyone else managed to dodge the obvious attack. Tang Yao fiercely steps up to defend his friend, mocking the pathetic rogue for blaming the captain when his own reaction speed is clearly trash. Before the argument can escalate into a brawl, Yulan shouts for silence, deeply ashamed of her guildmate's childish tantrum. Taking total control of the situation, Na Yan strides past the disgraced rogue, declaring he will personally clear the path of dark elf traps since Chen Bo clearly doesn't know how to play the class. He dashes into the thickest part of the gloomy woods, his movements fluid and precise as the rest of the raid party scrambles to keep up. Suddenly, a massive spiked log swings down from the canopy, aiming directly for the captain's skull. With breathtaking agility, he bounces off a nearby tree trunk, dodging the lethal timber while simultaneously tossing a dagger into the darkness. The blade flawlessly severs a hidden tripwire, safely triggering a barrage of poisoned arrows to fire harmlessly into the empty air. Barely landing on his feet, his sharp eyes catch a faint blue glow descending rapidly from the branches above. He draws his weapon in a flash, slicing upward to shred the magical binding net into useless ribbons before it can trap him. Tang Yao watches the dazzling display in awe, sweating nervously as he realizes just how terrifyingly smooth his friend's mechanics truly are. The veteran players of the victorious Return Guild watch in stunned silence, realizing that this level 2 thief's trap-clearing efficiency is utterly monstrous. Driven mad by the need to prove himself, Chen Bo recklessly sprints past the front line, screaming that clearing traps is a simple task anyone can do. Within 3 steps, the ground crumbles beneath his feet, plunging the screaming rogue into a deep pitfall trap. Time seems to slow down as Chen Bo stares at the razor-sharp iron spikes rushing up to impale his eyes, certain that his digital life is over. At the last possible millisecond, Na Yan dives to the edge and violently yanks the idiot backward by the collar, dragging him back to solid ground. Glaring down at the trembling rogue, Na Yan's golden eyes burn with utter disgust as he calls him the biggest noob he has ever seen. Instead of showing gratitude, Chen Bo sits in the dirt and stubbornly accuses the captain of framing him, insisting the path was safe just seconds ago. Furious at this sheer audacity, Tang Yao screams at the ungrateful wretch, reminding him that he would be a corpse right now without Nirvana Flame's intervention. Crossing his arms, Na Yan ruthlessly shatters the boy's remaining ego, coldly stating that he simply lacks the basic awareness required to play a wind thief. Completely unhinged by the humiliation in front of his guild, Chen Bo draws his dagger and challenges the captain to a duel to the death. He lunges forward like a madman, swinging his blade with murderous intent toward Na Yan's throat. Without even breaking a sweat, Na Yan parries the strike using only the flat of his blade, yawning that fighting such a weak opponent would bore him to tears. The sheer, overwhelming gap in their strength finally registers in Chen Bo's mind, his face freezing in an expression of absolute horror. Disgusted by the entire spectacle, Yu Lan severely reprimands her guildmate, horrified that he would attack the very man who just saved his life. Still refusing to accept his own incompetence, Chen Bo furiously points at Na Yan, screaming that the outsider deliberately hid the trap's location to get him killed. The main tank, Boiled Water, firmly steps in to back up the captain, telling his guildmate that everyone can see he is just throwing a petty tantrum. Realizing that his entire party has turned against him in favor of a stranger, Chen Bo lets out a bitter, psychotic laugh. A system notification flashes across the screen as the disgraced rogue turns his back on the group and steps through a portal, officially abandoning the dungeon raid. Yao Yao looks at her friend with deep guilt, softly apologizing for bringing him into a group with such a toxic troublemaker. Na Yan narrows his eyes thoughtfully, realizing that if he wants to conquer the hardest dungeons in the future, he will eventually need to build his own elite guild. Shaking off the ugly drama, Yu Lan commands the team to refocus their energy on the raid, determined to push forward. The group advances cautiously until they reach a clearing where 18 massive, red-eyed treants completely block the only path forward. Yu Lan's confidence falters as she turns to Na Yan, stating the grim reality that their small party cannot possibly survive pulling that many monsters at once. With a sly, confident smirk, Na Yan assures her he isn't stupid enough to fight fair, suddenly leaping high into the branches of a nearby tree. His hand reaches into the void of his inventory, summoning the massive, mechanical rapid-fire hand crossbow he purchased earlier. Crouching on the branch with a predator's grin, he aims the deadly weapon down at the horde, promising to show his team what god-tier aggro pulling truly looks like. Hanging almost completely upside down from a massive branch, Na Yan aims his mechanical crossbow directly at the towering treants below. Panic ripples through the backline as the team watches in sheer terror, convinced their captain's hand just slipped to doom them all. Ignoring their frantic shouts, he drops down gracefully and barks a precise coordinate command to the main tank, Boiled Water. 3 crossbow bolts simultaneously strike different targets, instantly drawing the furious aggro of the corrupted trees. The wooden beasts roar in anger as the meager damage registers, turning their glowing red eyes toward the party. Yu Lan gasps in absolute awe, recognizing the legendary triple shot technique used to perfectly control multiple enemies at once. She whispers to Yao Yao that pulling just one treant usually causes a fatal swarm, but their captain somehow found the exact pixel-perfect spot to safely lure only a fraction of the mob. A warm flush of admiration colors Yao Yao's cheeks as she realizes just how ridiculously skilled her new friend truly is. The enraged treants surge forward like a tidal wave of splintered wood, their massive roots tearing up the earth. Trusting the captain's strategy, Boiled Water plants his heavy shield exactly where ordered, bracing for the monstrous impact. Capitalizing on the tank's perfect block, Yan leaps into the sky, raining down a flurry of devastating physical and magical strikes. The massive wooden fist slams into the shield, but boiled water manages to hold the line, utterly shocked that Yan's bizarre positioning advice actually kept him alive. Seeing the front line stabilize flawlessly, Lan charges into the fray with her holy sword drawn, rallying the rest of the team to strike back. She leaps high into the air, bringing her glowing blade down in a heavy vertical slash that cuts deep into the bark. With a final, agonizing groan, the massive treant collapses into a pile of dead wood, leaving a glowing piece of loot in its wake. The entire party stares in disbelief as Lan holds up a bronze-grade mage gauntlet, a drop rate unheard of for normal mobs. Flashing a charming smile, Yan leans close to Yahello, playfully reminding her that he promised to carry them through the expert-grade dungeon. Morale soaring to absolute maximum, the captain raises his crossbow and leads the charge to systematically decimate the rest of the grove. One by one, the terrifying woodland monsters are lured out and shot down with ruthless efficiency. The once hesitant raid group transforms into a well-oiled machine, chaining their skills together under Yan's flawless orchestration. 20 grueling minutes later, the team sits exhausted but triumphant in the clearing, surrounded by a mountain of premium loot. Taking a well-deserved break, Yan and Yahello rest against the massive roots of an ancient tree, enjoying the quiet victory. Beneath his calm exterior, the thief's sharp eyes continually scan the shadows, his mind already plotting their next objective. Dusting himself off, he rises to his feet and assures the amazed crew that the true riches of this dungeon are still waiting ahead. The party follows him until the dirt path splits into a fork, where he decisively points toward the western trail. Lan hesitates, gently warning him that every known guide labels the western route as a dangerous dead end. Waving off her concerns, he pushes through the dense bushes, his ears catching the faint, melodic notes of a distant flute. In a moonlit clearing, a solitary figure sits atop a massive boulder, playing a sorrowful tune into the night. The nameless old man closes his eyes, completely immersed in the music that serves as the key to a legendary secret. Long ago, this ancient herder maintained a peaceful harmony between humans and the gentle spirits of the forest. But the sudden arrival of corrupted dark cultists drove the treants mad, forcing the Greenland Council to declare a brutal crusade against them. Lowering his wooden flute, the grim elder warns the traveling adventurers to turn back before the moonlight grants the monsters invincible strength. Placing a respectful hand over his heart, Yan bows and boldly declares they have come to eradicate the corruption and bring justice. The old man's face twists in furious rage, as he screams that the true villains are the subterranean beasts who stole his magical instrument. Utterly bewildered, the female players watch in awe, realizing their captain has somehow flawlessly triggered an unknown, hidden storyline. Tang Yao breaks into a cold sweat, struggling to process when his best friend transformed into an omniscient gaming god. Maintaining his perfectly crafted persona, the thief lies smoothly, claiming he spotted traces of the elusive dark elves the moment he entered the woods. Overjoyed by this revelation, the herder forcefully grabs the boy's shoulders, seeing a glimmer of hope to restore the forest's balance. The NPC bestows a handful of glowing, ethereal powder into Yan's palm, granting him the dust of appearance to expose any hidden enemies. Clenching his fist around the precious quest item, the captain stands triumphantly on the rocks, ordering his squad to keep moving. He grabs a dangling vine and rappels down the sheer cliff face with terrifying speed, leading them deeper into the abyss. As they traverse a chilling, shadowy gorge, a nervous Lan asks if he truly knows where to find the invisible thieves. The moonlight casts long skeletal shadows as the party inches across a precarious stone bridge surrounded by darkness. Suddenly stopping in a claustrophobic dead end, Yan smirks and announces that this corner is the perfect spot to trap a turtle in a jar. Confused by the empty cavern, Yahello asks how he could possibly know the dark elves are hiding right here. A sudden chill crawls up the healer's spine, prompting her to whip around with a terrified squeak as a dark presence manifests. His eyes gleaming with cold malice, Yan chuckles darkly, revealing that the cowardly elves have been stalking them since the very beginning. Staring down the narrow gorge, Yan warns Yahello that the timid dark elves must be eliminated in a single, decisive strike before they can escape. As the raid party slowly advances into the rocky dead end, two shadowy figures break cover and desperately sprint toward the back of the canyon. Anticipating their exact movement, the captain smirks and forcefully hurls the glowing dust of appearance to spring his meticulously planned trap. A cascade of sparkling blue powder rains down over the rocky walls, immediately breaking the stealth of the fleeing creatures. Stripped of their invisibility, a pair of grotesque, purple-skinned dark elves whirls around in absolute terror. Disoriented by the magical dust, the vile monsters lose their footing and violently tumble down the steep stone embankment. Seizing the perfect opportunity, Tang Yao steps ahead of the vanguard with a malicious grin, mocking the cornered prey. Driven into a corner, one of the desperate elves lets out a screeching roar and blindly lunges toward the taunting mage. Before the monster's claws can even reach their target, Boiled Water flawlessly intercepts the attack with his towering red shield. Fully protected by his reliable tank, Tang Yao wastes no time gathering a blazing sphere of arcane energy between his hands. The massive fireball detonates against the trapped elf's chest, engulfing the screeching creature in a blinding pillar of flames. Refusing to be outdone, Yu Lan issues a swift command and leads the rest of the frontline in a brutal, coordinated charge. The canyon erupts into total chaos as the entire raid group mercilessly swarms the two vulnerable monsters from every direction. Weaving through his teammates' attacks, Na Yan closes in like a phantom, his dagger poised for the finishing blow. He effortlessly ducks under a wild claw swipe and brings his blade up in a swift, calculated arc. The razor-sharp edge tears across the monster's throat, triggering a massive critical hit that instantly drains its remaining life force. Alongside him, Yu Lan brings her glowing sword down in a final holy strike, completely overwhelming the second target's defenses. Standing victoriously over the dissolving ashes of the Dark Elves, the thief spots a small, gleaming object materializing on the stone floor. He picks up the legendary Ian Pat's flute, a quest item that drastically slashes all trait stats by half while massively boosting the user's health. The sweet taste of victory is interrupted when Yao Yao urgently calls the captain over to inspect a hidden remnant left behind by the cultists. Stepping closer, he carefully accepts a mysterious sealed parchment from her hands, instantly recognizing it as a crucial story item. The system chimes to announce the activation of a branching storyline, tasking them with delivering secret intelligence regarding an impending drow counterattack. Unable to decipher the ancient elvish script, the healer leans in closely, her eyes filled with curiosity about the parchment's contents. Eager whispers ripple through the rest of the party as the veterans quickly realize this hidden lore will grant them unimaginable bonus rewards. Shifting his focus back to the immediate raid, Na Yan hands the magical flute to Boiled Water, instantly turning the main tank into an unkillable fortress. With their frontline heavily fortified and morale skyrocketing, the captain commands his fully prepared squad to march back into the deadly forest. Trailing slightly behind, Tang Yao smiles proudly as he watches how effortlessly his best friend has earned the absolute respect of these elite players. The flute's debilitating debuff makes their advance trivial, allowing the team to slaughter the towering treants as if they were made of paper. During the massacre, an incredibly rare bronze-grade round shield drops, leaving the main tank speechless at its massive 10% defense boost. Approaching cautiously, Yu Lan swallows her pride and asks if she can purchase the shield, knowing this single item could elevate her entire guild. Instead of extorting them for coins, Na Yan generously gifts them the shield, stating he is only interested in obtaining the boss's exclusive jewel. Touched by his unexpected selflessness, Yao Yao softly apologizes for letting him take a financial loss while sincerely thanking him for his kindness. The heartwarming moment is violently shattered when the earth quakes and thick vines explode outward from the soil. Springing backward to avoid the debris, the captain immediately barks out orders for the shield warriors to hold the frontline against the incoming threat. Tearing its way out of the dirt, the terrifying level 4 Lord-grade Treant King towers over the clearing with a staggering 10,000 health points. The corrupted guardian glares down at the puny mortals with glowing cyan eyes, letting out a deafening roar that rattles the players' very souls. Enraged by the intrusion, the colossal beast violently sweeps its massive, trunk-like arm across the battlefield to crush the annoying thief. Relying entirely on his godly reflexes, Na Yan performs a flawless backward somersault to evade the sweeping devastation. The heavy timber misses his body by a mere fraction of an inch, the wind pressure alone threatening to knock him off balance. Witnessing this breathtaking evasion, Yu Lan is left completely spellbound, realizing she has never seen a thief dance with death so effortlessly. Landing safely on his feet, the captain wastes no time, urgently commanding the mages to stay exactly 30 yards back while the melee engage. Fortified by the magical flute, Boiled Water bravely steps up and absorbs a devastating slam, though he curses the boss's incredibly high defenses. Seeing the boss locked in place, Na Yan's voice cuts through the chaos, signaling the backline that the time to strike has finally come. A vibrant barrage of fireballs and arcane missiles streaks across the sky, painting the dark forest with lethal, concentrated magic. The synchronized bombardment violently detonates against the corrupted Lord's bark, marking the true beginning of the ultimate boss raid. The colossal Treant King brings its massive wooden fist down, prompting Yan to scream for boiled water to activate their secret weapon. Bracing behind his shield, the main tank quickly raises Pat's flute to his lips and blows a piercing note. A shockwave of ancient magic ripples through the clearing, instantly suppressing the boss and having its monstrous stats. Capitalizing on the debuff, the captain barks out new orders, commanding the mages to unleash fire magic while strictly forbidding ice attacks against the frost-resistant bark. Tang Yao eagerly steps up to the front line, his hands already swirling with volatile flames as he prepares to show off his destructive specialty. Shifting his focus to the backline, Yan spots a nervous female priest and sharply asks if she has learned the critical dispel skill. He points toward the vanguard, instructing her to keep her eyes glued to the main tank and to instantly cleanse him the moment the boss casts its terrifying fear debuff. Seeing her hands tremble, he softens his tone and promises to call out the exact timing, completely easing her raid anxiety. Just as predicted, a sickly green aura engulfs boiled water, and Yan immediately roars the command to cleanse the tank. The priest raises her staff with newfound confidence, casting a brilliant flash of holy magic to execute the perfect dispel. Freed from the paralyzing fear, boiled water re-engages the beast with a fierce battle cry, praising the healer's flawless timing. A bright smile spreads across the priest's face, her confidence soaring as she realizes she can actually perform at an expert level under the right leadership. With the tank secured, the DPS classes unleash absolute hell, tearing into the Trient King's wooden flesh with relentless holy strikes and fiery explosions. The coordinated assault violently chips away at the boss's massive health pool, driving the monster into a cornered frenzy as its HP drops to critical levels. A dark, ominous aura suddenly erupts from the creature's core as it lets out an ear-shattering roar, forcibly entering its enrage phase. Yulan grits her teeth as she deflects a wild vine, horrified that a starter zone boss actually possesses a berserk mechanic. Anticipating the deadly damage spike, Yan screams for boiled water to immediately drop his aggression and switch to an absolute defensive stance. Simultaneously, he commands the backline healers to completely drain their instant mana potions to prepare for the incoming carnage. A wave of rejuvenating green energy washes over the vanguard, as the priests channel every ounce of their magic into keeping the tank alive. The Trient King violently slams its clustered roots into the front line, dealing a monstrous 220 damage that nearly shatters the shield wall. Sweat pours down boiled water's face as he groans under the immense pressure, realizing his health is draining far faster than anticipated. Just as his knees begin to buckle, the massive burst of concentrated healing magic kicks in, rapidly restoring his depleted life force. He deflects another bone-crushing blow with his newly acquired bronze round shield, feeling the sturdy metal absorb the worst of the impact. Gritting his teeth behind the bulwark, the tank realizes that without the magical flute and the perfectly timed heals, he would have been instantly crushed into paste. Following the captain's earlier prep, he crushes a basic health potion between his teeth, marveling at how Yan perfectly predicted this exact life-or-death scenario. Furious that its prey refuses to die, the boss spins its colossal body into a devastating tornado of razor-sharp wood and wind. Diving away from the lethal cyclone, Yan commands the raid to completely abandon defense and focus all their firepower for a fast, desperate kill. Yulan answers the call flawlessly, leaping into the tempest with a blinding holy light slash that violently cleaves through the monster's defenses. The combined onslaught of magic and steel repeatedly punctures the Trient King's armored bark, exposing its glowing, vulnerable core. Propelling himself off a nearby trunk, Yan soars through the chaotic winds, his dagger aimed directly at the exposed heart. A crimson flash of vital strike buries the blade deep into the boss's core, landing a devastating critical hit that drains the last sliver of its health. The tempest abruptly shatters as the towering monster explodes into a massive shower of splintered wood and glowing green energy. A heavy silence falls over the ruined clearing, the exhausted players staring at the settling dust as they process the impossible victory. Yao Yao drops to her knees in sheer disbelief, utterly astounded that their ragtag group actually conquered the infamous expert-grade Trient Forest. Boiled Water shares a victorious laugh with the healers, humbly admitting that without Nirvana Flame's godlike shot calling, they would have wiped in the first minute. Pillars of golden light erupt across the clearing, as the massive experience reward instantly levels up multiple members of the surviving squad. Ignoring the celebratory cheers, the captain walks silently toward the massive, glowing pile of premium loot left behind by the fallen king. He reaches into the pile and retrieves a stunning dark gold gem, his eyes gleaming as he admires the Featherfall jewel, the gravity-defying artifact he orchestrated this entire raid to obtain.